It's your boy Face from Flight School TV, and I'm here with Shontay. So this is a special interview because you know, I like to interview people that's doing different things, and a lot of times that I sit down with people, or I get people that inbox me like, man, can we do an interview? And if I see similarities between they brand and other people's brand, I usually shy away from it because I really don't like the copycat type thing. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fan of originality, and that's what your brand stood out
Thank you.
with me for. So I want to start with describing, like, where are you from in Chicago? You from Chicago?
I am from Chicago, born and raised. I've never lived anywhere else. I'm from the South Side. I grew up in Hyde Park.
Hey, shout out to Hyde Park. You know, that's the mecca of black excellence in Chicago.
Yes. So that really, I think, just the neighborhood really shapes you as a creative. You know, really and a lot of creatives in Chicago were raised in Hyde Park as well, or had been in the neighborhood for a really long time.
And my big bro, shout out to Dave Jeff. The fly kid, Chicago kids, Hyde Park, you know what's going on. But yeah, so like how would you say growing up in Hyde Park influenced your style?
You know what? So we know Hyde Park is a very diverse neighborhood, and you are always free to have your own look, your own style. You didn't have to look like anyone else. Like now, I don't know if it's because of social media, a lot of people dress alike. Everybody's hair is the same. But when I was growing up, it's like if everybody was wearing their hair straight, I'm wearing mine natural and curly. So, you know, that just really, Hyde Park just really shaped you to have your own identity. And to be like, hey, I'm wearing these jogging pants with a dress. Now what? You know, and everybody be like, oh, that's kind of cool. So that was one of the things. You were just free to be who you were and to express who you were creatively.
Yeah, that's dope because you hit the nail on the head with that, because I talk about that. It's a consistent theme in my interviews where I talk about the importance of individuality, because we live in a time where like social media it's not just fashion either. That apply to music. And a lot of stuff. You hear like New York artists sounding like Atlanta artists. You hear California artists sounding like Chicago artists. So I mean, you see that blend, which is cool, but at the same time, when it comes to fashion, it's just like your originality is the cool thing. You know what I'm saying? Like even in music, sometimes, you know, it's cool, but especially in fashion, it's just like that's just like your self identity. You agree with that?
I agree with that totally.
So, at what point in time, from you growing up on the South Side of Chicago, did you like gravitate towards fashion?
Oh, forever. You know what? I had a very fashionable mama. Okay?
That happened for a lot of people. That's where it started, in the home.
And we know that black women in the 80s, right? I'm an 80s baby, grew up in the 90s when it was like a big boom at fashion.
They was really doing it.
Oh, yeah. So I was just right in the middle of that time period where, you know, fashion was very influential in households, especially through music videos. That's all we used to do was watch music videos growing up and really identifying with the artists. So growing up in the hip hop era, right, the 90s really played a big part in that, a big role in that. So even when I was in the second grade, you know, we were dressing in the second grade, and there were not any school uniforms then, right? I went to public school. So
a lot of times it wasn't.
And then the Jordans came out. Like it was just everything. I was just right in that time period.
Yeah, I mean, like I know, like back then, like everything was like baggy. That was like the thing. But like it wasn't just like if you see somebody wearing baggy pants now, they just sagging for no reason. You know what I'm saying? But it was more so like like a statement. Like I just want to show you I can wear my fit different from yours.
Absolutely.
And now it's just like been taken to another level. Like I see dudes at the gas station like, hey bro, check it out, and they pants falling down as they run into the car like, hey, come on man, we both men here. Like, chill, tuck that away, fam.
Now please.
Yeah, please.
Sir.
Yeah, exactly. But so like having fashion in your household is like one thing, but you really took it and was like, you know what, I'm gonna actually do this thing. Like some people just like to express themselves through clothes, you know, which is something I do. You know, when people see me, I want them to see like who I am. Like most of the time, I love wearing sweats and a hoodie. Like that's my thing, you know. So when people see me, and it's usually a Chicago brand because I'm big on that. I'm big on spending locally, supporting local brands, and not just any type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be dope. Like shout out to Dave, Jeff. You know, this hoodie feel real comfortable right now. You know. But you know what I'm saying? That, like, but when people see me, like, they understand like, oh, okay, that's his style. So I grew up around fashion also, but I never got into the point where I want to put a piece or a collection together. So like, what made you take it more serious than others?
Working a job, you know, and I'll tell you this, when I was a senior in high school, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to New York, I'm gonna dance, I'm gonna be this creative. My mother was like, no, you're gonna go to college. And it was to the point where I had got acceptance letters, but I had not committed to a school, and it was so late. She took me to Chicago State 3 days before classes started. And that's the undergrad college I went to. And that was the best decision for me at that time, right? But I went to college, and then I went to grad school, and then I started a career in human resources. And I was a human resources manager for a healthcare company, and I was so unfulfilled. And I was like, oh, this is just not what I saw myself doing. And then I always had this gift of sewing because my grandmother actually taught me how to sew. She was a tailor, made all her kids' clothes. She lived in Jackson, Mississippi. So we used to sew quilts. And then we started on lines of notebook paper by hand, learning how to stitch. So I was like, you know what? Let me just start making me some pizzas. And so I started making pizzas. Then that evolved to people at my church saying, oh, could you make us some tops for the choir? And then it evolved to, can you make these dance uniforms? And then in 2011, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna step out here and I'm gonna design what I see women wearing and what I think women should wear. And the funny thing is, in 2011, that's when all the sheer and bodycon was coming out. And I was like, you know, I really don't want to wear that. That's the truth. That's
not what you might be comfortable with.
I was like, what else can we wear as women? And that's how my brand was born.
That's pretty amazing because creating a business out of something you love, you know, is an amazing, no matter what you do, that's an amazing task. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. So that's one thing that I always want people that watch this show to understand. Like, even though I'm interviewing people that's in the fashion world, have some type of success, that road is not always easy. Especially in a competitive market like fashion. Like, you got people that's doing it for so dirt cheap. Then you got people that's doing it super upscale, stealing ideas. You know, so it's real competitive to figure out a way to fit in there, especially with so many options available. So like, what were some of the challenges that you would say, like early on I faced it, like if you was to warn like the younger version of you, looking at yourself now, going back to the 2011, what would you say, like, hey Shontay, like, watch this, like, or don't do that?
Definitely don't be so anxious to grow so fast. And by that I mean, I was just out there just making all these connections. I was giving away pieces. I lost a lot of money just giving away clothing, which means the person doesn't pay for it, just so they can wear it and tell people about the brand. When you have a brand that you have put your time and energy into, with fashion, you know, it's pattern making that goes along with it, quality testing, you should charge for your brand. And that's just the honest truth. And another thing is, you know, with growing so fast, I always tell people, you know, I grew kind of fast and then I crashed. right? So 2013 to 2015, I call them like the glory years. Everything was selling. It was feeling like everything was going well, but then I kind of crashed because I had put too much money into a brand and wasn't getting that return back. And at the end of the day, running a business is about making money. And if you're not making enough money to support your brand, then more than likely you're gonna have to start over, or you're gonna have to scale back some. I mean, I was producing like hundreds of pieces in manufacturing because that's what I thought I had to do to try to get rid of it. And then at the end of the day, I was sitting on top of all this inventory. So start with small collections. You know, even if you start with 10 pieces and you sell all 10 of those pieces, it's great. It's going to keep growing from there. Yeah. That's
some great advice. That is amazing advice. Because I know, like, for example, like when I started my first run of flight school t-shirts, I bought all the wrong sizes. I got 1 minute, I'm like, okay, I need a lot of smalls and mediums. Then next thing you know, I started getting requests for like a lot of extra larges and 2Xs. So I'm like, okay, on my next run, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of 2Xs, and I'm not gonna get. So like figuring out that part, I know personally it was just like that's why I just gave it up. I'm like, you know what? I got leftover shirts, and what I do with these, I'll probably do some giveaways or something. But I don't know if I'm gonna enter that realm again because it's too tricky. It's too tricky. Like. Trying to figure out which size is going to sell and all that, that's tough.
Well then, and again, that's the same thing that happens with me, but I know just from doing it for a few years that majority of people, women now, so you have to do a market analysis, they are size 12, 14, and 16. And now I'm in a position where I'm only wholesaling. So I work with different apparel showrooms. One I just got this year that's international. So that's really good, and so they can order boutique owners what sizes they want.
Yeah, that's great. So like, I want to get to the technical aspects of like you creating. Like, let's just say, I don't want to say collection because I feel like that is too many things that might go. Let's just say you created a piece. What, like from start to finish, without like being too detailed, but like from start to finish, like what is the process for you?
The process for me, number one, is people watching. So I'm a people watcher. I go downtown, I hang out, and I just look and see what people are wearing.
That's dope.
That's what I do. And then I think about something that I see myself in. What looks good on my body type? Being a mom, my new body, not my old body. And so I'm thinking about these things as I'm designing. What's going to compliment me? What's going to make my torso look longer? And then I'm thinking about colors. I love bright colors. I want you to stand out.
I was going to say that. That was going to be my next question. You already hit it. But I want you to continue with it. And I want you after you do that, I want you to elaborate on the color schemes because I really like the colors you be choosing, real dope. So you were saying you people watch, then you make sure you think about what you should, what would you wear? You know what I'm saying, to compliment yourself. Then you go to colors.
Then I think about the color scheme, and then I'm thinking about a design. When you walk in the room, I want you to start a conversation with what you have on. So one of the dresses that you'll see today has a big old bow on it, right? And that dress was born because I went to a holiday party for Splash magazine, and the bow tie was showing. And everybody was like, oh my God, I need that dress for my holiday party next week. Can I have it? So that's kind of really how it starts too. Like I test it. So I may like it. I say, oh, this may be good. And so I'll make one for myself and I'll wear it out. And depending on the response, will constitute whether or not I put it in the collection.
So like when you create your, let's say your test piece. You put together that yourself?
I do. So I sew by hand at home on my machine my test piece. My first sample, I make all my first samples. Because I don't want to invest in it by manufacturing it if it's not going to sell.
So where did you learn how to get the proper measurements and all that? Like the technical stuff, the stuff that people probably be like, yeah, I think I can do that too. You probably can't. You probably can't. It's gonna take a little learning to get to where she is. So just understand that part. But like did you went to school for that?
I did not. I did
That's
not
even
go to
more
school.
amazing than mine.
I have a degree in psychology. Like, this is just, I'm not doing anything related to my field.
Yeah,
I got a whole bunch of student loans.
I honestly feel like the people, not to not take anything away from the people that do attend colleges, because I feel like, in my opinion, this is my opinion only, but I feel like college is good for networking. It's good for establishing relationships that might last a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, I see that as the benefit of college. The downside is all the student debt and a lot of stuff you may learn that you probably don't end up using.
That's right.
So, I mean, but it's always been a fascinating thing to me when I see people like doing what you're doing, but then didn't have to go to school for it. You know, just really found a way. That's pretty much what I did with my flight school TV show. I had this expensive $3,000 camera.
Wow.
The lens on the camera was $1,000. I had all this high tech equipment.
Yeah.
And didn't know how to work it. So I just figured out, like, you know what? I went through a little trial and error with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Let me figure out something that I know how to work, that'll work for me, instead of trying to do, because you know, you see people shooting music videos with the big Canon.
Yes.
I'm like, that's what I gotta get. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lesson that I want all our viewers to understand. Like, what worked for somebody else might not work for you.
Yes,
And,
that is so true.
And what I'm doing with my TV show is a perfect example. I went to Best Buy, talked to the guy, the tech squad. I'm like, I need a camera that films in great quality, but doesn't require so many. You gotta understand the color correction, the contrast. I don't understand none of that. I didn't go to school for this. I just need a camera that films great. I can press record. He pointed me to the Sony 4K, and I'm like, great, I'll take that, and I'll take the second one.
Yeah.
Give me 2 of those. I sold my other one, and this what works for me.
Yeah.
And I figured out how to work it. And that's like
amazing,
that's very similar to your story.
Yes,
like
it
you
is.
just figured out how to do it. So what was the process of learning that though?
Yeah, so one thing with any occupation or any venture you want to go into, you need to research first. I think it's so many people, again, so anxious to make a dollar that they are not focused on planning their routes and making sure it's right. Because guess what? If my sizing is off, I'm not going to sell anything.
Yeah.
So if you come and try on a dress and it says it's a large, but it's fitting you like a small and you can't zip it up, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So historically, what I did was I looked at different size charts from other brands, and especially brands that I purchased from, and the brands that fit me well. And I saw their size chart and I modeled that size chart. And then I made adjustments for women who are curvy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So,
and it's all measurements, math, basically. Yeah, inches.
So, like, it's 2019. What would you say was your first moment of success? Like, success can be defined in many ways.
Yes.
That's a personal view. I had people tell me my first moment of success was seeing somebody random on the street walking past with something I designed. I said, people say, I see somebody, I see my shirt in the storefront. So, like, what would you consider your first moment of success?
So I have 2 first moments. The very first moment was when a store called Cameron B, which is on Ashland on the south side, they sell shoes and clothes. They are black owned. 2 beautiful sisters running a business that has been in their family forever. Their father started the business. They bought some pieces from my first collection.
Wow.
Yes, they did. And that was in 2011. And they really kicked it off for me. and they trusted me. No one had ever brought my stuff before. I never sold to any other stores. I was just selling to different clients I had, but they are the first ones that carried several pieces from my first collection. And I think that second first moment is when other stores started to buy too in Chicago, and the stores were owned by people who looked like me as well. Wow. That's how I knew I had made it, right? Because
because when you start to get that support
from
your own people, you know how that goes.
That's very important, because we for real with each other, aren't we? We be like, nah, I ain't gonna buy this from you. But when they started buying from me,
they really gotta like it.
They really gotta like it.
That's a 100% fact right there.
And I have a very diverse brand, but those moments where, you know, the stores in black neighborhoods or that were black owned, when they started buying from me, I was like, this is amazing.
Speaking of stores, I also want to take time to address the location that we actually in. Yes. So can you get them a shout out, and let people know where we at?
Yes, we are at Standout Style Boutique at 3353 South Morgan in Chicago, Illinois. It is owned by Tamika Price, who is an amazing business owner and stylist and author, and who also carries Passport here in store.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing store, and I'm pretty sure you guys can see that by now with the footage that we added to the video. But definitely make sure that you stop by here and check out the scene. Like, even if you don't choose to buy anything, it'll be good just for you guys to stop by and check out the environment. It's a really dope store, and you can also find Passport in this location. So get that understood. So just to continue on, like I want to ask you less specifically about your brand in particular, but just in fashion in general. Like, how do you feel about like black women being represented in the fashion world? Because in many aspects, no matter which way you look at it, if you're looking at magazines, you see the smallest girls a lot of times. You don't see the reflection of like really how society is right now. Yes. And in streetwear culture, it's like a male-dominated thing where you see all these guys with brands in the streetwear culture. So can you speak, as far as you understand and as far as you know, about the fashion as far as like the Vogue level, and also what you see on the streetwear culture?
Absolutely. I think that black women, starting probably in we've always been hot. Let's start there. Facts. But something happened in 2015, 2016. It was a shift. And now all of a sudden, black girls are in. But what they don't know, we've always been in. Right? We've always been the trendsetters. So now you are seeing more black women represented in fashion on the front of different magazines, and most of them are actresses or women who are established in their careers when it comes to the entertainment industry.
Right.
But there are other women who are doing great things that should be featured as well. But most of the women are of a certain size. That's the fashion industry, that 0 to size 2 field. But we have to change that. Right. And that's why, you may see 1 or 2 plus size models, that are famous. But that is not something that the fashion industry has implemented on the runway, plus size models. However, Rihanna and her brand that she had of lingerie last fall showcased women of all sizes, and it was beautiful. That's amazing. She's trying to break that
stereotype.
Yes, that almost have to be skinny. She had a pregnant woman out there with panties and bra. It was beautiful.
That's in my personal opinion. I feel like if you want us to buy something, then we should see ourselves in those clothes. Like whether it doesn't necessarily have to even be skin color, but same shape. Like I know how my mom is, my grandma is, like my sister, my cousin is, my girl. You know what I'm saying? Like I know how they shape. Like if I'm shopping for Valentine's Day or something like that, I want to see something that I see in my daily life. Person, right, and it just don't seem that the the industry gets that part yet.
Right.
But even though we got the Kim Kardashians and those type of women of the world who wants the nice hips, you know, the Kylie Jenners who got the bigger lips.
Fellas, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you would think that it would be a natural progression. Like, this is what's trending right now. This is what's going on. Like, black is cool. Like, and we just don't see it reflected.
We don't, or we see it reflected, but on people that don't look like us.
That part. So, like, what do you feel about the streetwear culture?
You know what? I love streetwear. When I'm not wearing like a blazer, that's what I'm wearing, right? But I do have a problem with the way it's being represented and the fact that it came from a certain culture and now it looks like, you know, they're trying to eliminate, and I'm just going to say it how it is, you know, African Americans, where it generated from, out of the portrayal of streetwear.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's because I'm stuck in my ways, right? I grew up in a certain time, and I feel like, you know, at least if we are going to take what was created, at least let's portray the people who created it in the advertisements as well.
At the very least.
At the very least. You know, but I do see a lot of streetwear is basically for men.
Yeah.
And a lot of the cool stuff that us women want to wear is men's clothing.
Yeah,
I have on men's jogging pants right now.
Yeah.
So it is more geared toward men, and if you see women in it, they make it more feminine. So yeah, you could wear the jogging pants, or we're gonna put it on with a crop top on you or a bralette.
Right,
you know, we're not gonna put it on with a t-shirt. So they changed the style for women a little bit, but definitely it's geared toward men. That's what they want men to wear.
Yeah. I'm in total agreement there. So how do you feel about like the importance of like a lot of people to break from the mental programming of what society has deemed is cool and get back to, like, instead of group thinking, individual thinking?
You know, that's a really hard one because everyone is very addicted to social media. And that's where we get those images from, those schemas that we relate to from one thing to another, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to speak.
Because we see the rise of, like, these influencers.
Yes.
Like, that's never been a thing before. And, like, and now it's so prevalent, like, it's everywhere.
Yes.
Like, every big brand is trying to attach themselves to a so-called influencer.
Yeah.
And those influencers have a lot of the followers that follow up under the group thinking mentality.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like,
it is crazy, and that's why I always say it's not about the followers that you have.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you are building a brand, like I have worked with influencers in the past, and it has been successful, right? But some influencers, it's just for you to market your brand.
Right.
But others, if you market with them, you're paying them $200,000 for a post, and then you're hoping that people will come buy from you, which generates into sales, which is what you want in the long term.
Right.
Because our nation now, we are such followers. I'm going to buy what you got on.
Exactly.
I didn't like it on this person, but because this girl got it on, I'm going to go buy it.
Right.
And so I think that changing that mentality comes from us creatives, us who are going to continue to make things that no one else has and continue to build a culture where it is cool to have your own identity and to not dress like everybody else. Because I don't shop and buy clothes where it's $500,000 being manufactured. Because I'm the person, I cannot go out and somebody else got on what I got on.
I hate that too. I hate that too.
I can't do it.
I hate that too. Like, my guy done showed up to my crib, we about to hit the bar or something.
Yeah.
And if he got on the same shoes as me, I'm like, nah.
Let me change
my shoes real quick. We not trying to be twins today.
Yes.
No, like, we can have different outfits, but even if we got the same shoes, that's how much I want to be different. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like, I can't even go out with my guys if we wearing like the same shoes. Like, it's just a thing with me. Yeah. But jumping back to your brand, Did you have any early on inspirations?
I sure did.
Like, who were those people that you looked to and was like, wow, I really like that. I would not saying that you want to emulate them, but you kind of took mental notes about, if I can do this my way, I will do it my way. Like, who was that person, like those people that you look to?
I grew up in a house where we listened to Dusties all the time.
Right.
So I love women like Lena Horne and looking at Diana Ross and Sarah Vaughan. I mean, just to have that elegance.
Yeah, they have presence and style.
Yes.
They owned it.
So that was my influence before anything else. Like, I was like, who are these strong women? Like, they are so beautiful.
Yeah. Totally
Their presentation of themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, Claire Huxtable.
On that side too.
Yeah.
She was the professional, you know what I'm saying?
Wearing business suits on TV. So we had a lot of positive things growing up that we can look to. It wasn't any reality TV.
Right.
You know, it wasn't, when I grow up, I'm aspiring to get a basketball player and all that stuff, you know. It was just a totally different time. So, of course, I'm inspired by women.
So, where does the inspiration for the color of your pieces come from? Because, like, that's something that I told you I wanted to get back to.
Yes.
But that's something that really stands out. If anybody goes to your Instagram page, we'll give them in a second. But if anybody go to your Instagram page, that's the first thing that really caught my eye. Like, every piece I see is just colorful, it's like vibrant. Like, where does that come from?
That comes from me just saying, like, man, that water is so beautiful today when I'm jogging. I'm gonna make a blue dress. That's literally how it happens.
Yeah, I done interviewed some people, man. Like, I was just in New York and I did an interview with a company called Be Rich. Okay. It's VIERICHE. Yeah, they're a real popular company, and the owner, Fausto, he was telling me, like, man, I get inspired by anything. I can see a fire truck and be like, man, the red on that fire truck, I'm finna use that. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely heard that part before. Like you said, you can be jogging and see the water. Like, that's very intriguing to me. Yeah. Me being a person that don't create things like that, to hear the thought process that y'all actually have. Yeah.
I Google animals, snakes, different colors of snakes. Of course, I'm following different color charts that's coming out in the fashion world and what other people are doing. Like a couple years ago, mustard was a really big color. Yeah. I made a few mustard pieces, but I was like, I want to make some pieces I like, right? So I made these bright orange jumpsuits. And it was great. It was like a bright orange boiler suit. Cargo.
Yeah, okay. Now you got me back.
Now I got you. Cargo with pockets. So it's just something that's like, I like nudes and neutrals to make women feel soft and feminine. So I make a lot of neutrals every year.
I'm a big fan of like the black, the browns, the grays. Yeah. You know? Like, I'm a fan. Like, I feel like that's my personality. Yeah. That's like my style. Every now and then I'll throw in some spicy where it'd be like a neon green or something, or a bright blue or bright red. But for the most part, I like if I'm being comfortable, I like wearing all black. Yeah. I'm a simple guy.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I like black, but I also like to grab your attention. Yeah. Right? I want to focus on, oh my God, where did you get that lime green hoodie from?
Right,
you know?
Right. So as far as your brand goes, like, where does it end and begin as far as like things that you create? Like, is it just like tops, dresses, or is it just like everything?
So it's all women's apparel. So women's suits, women's dresses, more contemporary though. So I'm not really into urban wear. I put like a spin on urban wear before, like the lime green hoodie dress you saw earlier. But it really is just all pieces for women. Blouses, shorts, pants, dresses. And so for this year, I came out with 19 pieces just for women to mix and match. And some of those include denims, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So if anybody watching this interview just wanted to like find you, follow up on your story, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Passport by SP.
And we will include the link into the video. And if y'all not in tune, y'all need to get in tune, man. Make sure that y'all following her and get in tune with what she got going on. Understand that this is somebody who really love what she doing, and get behind that. It's Flight School TV with Shontay, Passport. We out.